Flight boss. Angel made crap part too. Flights. Feed is top, bitch. If it's out there, then believe we gonna leave it up. Archangel Uriel was coming, make a demon run. Bitch, I ain't Scotty, I don't need no one to beat me up. Flights. We is up. If you had a bitch, then best believe she gonna leave with us. Bitch, I'm a star, just like Mars, with that Venus love. Everything around me turn to gold. I ain't need to touch. Bitch, I ain't no Maria, Lucifer or Iron Man. Yeah, you been touched by an angel. Learn astronomy so I can stay in touch with the angels. Learn astrology so I can stay above the entangles. The rotten fruits that you be bearing, bitch, ain't nothing like mango. Strawberries, apples, and oranges. Why you cats is ignoring that I'm not from this planet, damn it. That's rapper, that's foreign. I got mad when I'm touring, cause all I see is destruction. All you niggas acting like crabs, you should be in the bucket. You little demons is nothing for me to handle. Fucking with Uriel, I can get your wings dismantled. I can get your Jesus sandals, footprints in the sand. Bitches dolo the pilot, man, and I'm looking to expand. Flights. Feed is top, bitch. If it's out there, then believe we gonna leave it up. Archangel Uriel was coming, make a demon run. Bitch, I ain't Scotty, I don't need no one to beat me up. Flights. We is up. If you had a bitch, then best believe she gonna leave with us. Bitch, I'm a star, just like Mars, with that Venus love. Everything around me turn to gold. I ain't need to touch. Bitch, I ain't no Maria, Lucifer or Iron Man. Yeah, you been touched by a demon. Got the flaming sword for anytime I come for you heathens. Oxymoron, you don't know if you was coming or leaving. You keep claiming that you woke, but motherfuckers is sleeping. Yeah, Uriel could be a friendly ghost tonight. Pop up on your TV like it's poltergeist. Yeah, floating through the sky look like a golden light. It's the pilot, man, now tell me, have you rode that flight? Yeah, best rapper alive, you never heard no better. Subject matter way beyond superb and clever. The birds with the same feathers know they work together. Before you understand the sky, you better learn the weather, yeah. Before your ass get flunked out. Graduated from the school of hard knocks. You niggas got F's and flunked out. And you keep on doing the campaign. Out here looking a damn shame. Yo, Lord, Apollo, man, you can bet your bottom dollar I won't land, man, yeah. Flights. Heat is top, bitch. If it's out there, then believe we gonna leave it up. Archangel Uriel was coming, make a demon run. Bitch, I ain't Scotty, I don't need no one to beat me up. Flights. We is up. If you had a bitch, then best believe she gonna leave with us. Bitch, I'm a star, just like Mars, with that Venus love. Everything around me turn to gold. I ain't need to touch. Bitch, I ain't no Maria, Lucifer or Iron Man.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your Mercury in Aries transit talk. This is the peace dealer in the flesh. Welcome, angels of enlightenment, once again to God Squad. Okay. You know you joined yesterday. It's nice to have you. Of course, as always, these transit talks will remain publicly available. And welcome to Aries season. Welcome to the spring equinox. We are traveling along the 90 degrees of activation. And we are in midst of a transforming status quo as the dust settles and the fog dissipates. You ever have a petty argument and maybe certain parties weren't able to have their way with you or get off what they wanted to get off, or maybe they got what they want and they didn't get it in the way they wanted it, right? That's the vibe I'm sensing. Obviously, in a planet of billions of people, I doubt everyone will feel the same way. But from my personal perception, that's kind of the vibe I may be sensing energetically the day after, now still being in this presence with lingering enmity and resentment. And an environment like this is a fertile ground to be as petty as possible, okay? To be as raw and vulgar, all right? Mercury in Aries represents the processing unit of your brain, formulating communication in an unfiltered and raw archetype of the warrior. The way a warrior communicates is not going to be the way in Libra, the opposite sign, an artist will communicate. An artist is going to communicate with their art to use symbols that relate to, regardless of what themes they're covering. Not to put the stereotype that Libra always has to be nice, but there is a conscientiousness of how one's character affects others that is not present in motherfucking Aries, motherfuckers. All right. So this definitely enables you to activate a fire in the raw savagery, or we can say the independent individuality, the authenticity, the unfiltered quality and nature of course, as we begin this cycle of Mercury in Aries pressing forth in these environments where you could deal with an invisible, unspoken element of nuances socially, where you are expected to act in a certain way, to tiptoe over other people's sensibilities. You have full onus to, whoop your dick or boobs out and just bear them all, okay, with the full rawness of what God has given you, and bask in the effect of you putting yourself out there like that. I'm not telling you to get an indecency exposure charge, or a battery charge, but yeah, there's that element of the warrior, okay, that you may borrow as you are activating new themes of your character. Welcome to this new season, okay? And as of now, Mercury is on Chiron. It is 2 degrees away from the North Node. And relative to this is activating ahead of the rest of the planets before it retrogrades, your brain collecting information. So I'm going to talk about retrograde cycles, as we will have a retrograde here, and the significance of the retrograde, plus relative to during this period, is going to, I hope, wrap your mind around very exciting mechanisms that are activating over the next 30 days and next 90 days, really, until we get to the summer. All right. We have 6 months ago started the I Told You So tour. And then in November, we did the I Told You So part two, where we put sauce on the receipts we presented in Virgo season, in Libra season. Remember, go back to September of 2023. You came into a realization of your perspective with analysis that took beliefs you had and thoughts you experimented it with and proved receipts. You actually were able to sustain this in real life. All right. And through real experiences, uplifted yourself out of what certain people may felt was a delusion or not true, or certain facets of your skills and abilities. And what did you do in October? You presented these findings, and we went on tour with it. We put the sauce on it in November, and then we went wild with it on the finale in Sagittarius season. And so now it is officially 6 months from that. And this doesn't have to apply to you. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. But after an I told you so tour of such magnitude, do you get the sense that those who have had to accept the facts of your receipts, of course, through Pisces season, you have seen who has remained in denial, all right, and afraid to accept what was presented. And now they have to project that denial on you and take it on you. I want you to comment a number 1 if you get the sense that the motherfuckers who you told off are mad. I think certain people didn't expect for you to present facts in a way that now doesn't give them a reason to try and control, manipulate. And comment a 1 if people big mad. All right. There is a vibe you're going to carry throughout the next 6 months to complete this presentation of facts, because September we're going to do it again. We do this every year. But yeah, just setting that tone. Chiron in Aries is a vulnerability in expressing who you are, whether it's popular or not. And this empowerment is an aspect of one's individuality that is the greatest limited. The most limited zodiac sign is and always will be Aries, the power of an individual. It's necessary. One person cannot have too much power. This is why we have rules in place to limit what each individual can do in the supporting of a balanced society, Libra. But sometimes these checks in place, which were meant to honor the individual, now get used to control the individual in pursuit for a greater group or an elite group. All right. And this is where now individuals must fight back to restore that balance. Or, in an individual sense, not letting anybody, spit in your face and step over you. All right. There is, in this delusion of those who take themselves more seriously than they have to, a filter, whether they'll admit it or not, unconscious through their nuances and actions, that can cause those to see you as less as you are, as less than you are. And simultaneously, the vibe of it is almost as if, how dare you not walk around with your head down? How dare you feel confident in yourself around myself? Okay. It's in a frame like this. Now, when you are confident, this confidence is going to be seen as arrogance. And this is also seen in the element of fire. Sag may go through this, but specifically Aries and Leo placements, Aries suns and Aries moons, in the Aries side, can frequently be seen as being angry. And yeah, I won't say they don't get angry, but this passion could be mistaken for combativeness when that's just their power. The Leo swagger could be seen as pompousness. And I'm not going to say it's not always pompousness, but it can definitely be seen a lot for what it's not. That being said, this Mercury in Aries transit is in tandem with the nodes and through the retrograde, unlocking a sense of self-realization that will complete the process of evolution. You have not only done the last 12 years since 2012, kicking in 2011, but also setting up the next 12 years. This is that period in that book, end of the first chapter of the next book, where you realize who you are so that it can set up the rest of the book, the rest of the narrative. This is who you're reading the story about. All right. Everything up until this point, release the old narrative, and we're getting ready to set into this next stage. As there's always new cycles, the next cycle. Okay. This, of course, can feel in a way of trepidation as you're linking with those who do honor you, feeling that pressure, I put in quotes because the power of one who knows themselves is greater than those who just follow the line, but or don't are not authentic. But with that being said, you may sense a sense of maliciousness. You may sense a sense of negativity, which is really just the sore loserness of bitches and motherfuckers who don't like the facts that you motherfucking told these motherfuckers. Okay, boom. All right. So, I want to really emphasize this because culturally and I guess conventionally, when you engage socially, there's certain nuances that you will do as an adult you don't do as a child, right? As an adult, you don't necessarily get petty and aggrandize certain situations um, in a way that could be mocking or, you know, kind of are childish. Aries is 0 to 2 years old. Get as childish as you want. That because Aries is 0 to 2 years old is not the reason why you should get childish. That's not a justification. I'm saying this is an amazing way to use that childish energy to be as childish as possible. Okay. And you can overcome these conventions by making sure that you lash out when you are seen as less than you are, when you are seen when you feel that you have something to fight for. Activate that warrior energy. Now these conventions in the battlefield go out the window because you're battling in a war. All right. There are a way that these social conventions could be used manipulatively in order to indirectly suppress you. Okay. And it's very important because if you try and play that game, it can end up stifling your individuality and authenticity. However, overcoming that by just maintaining that authenticity kind of destroys those conventions in the way they're being used. For those who may be more sensitive towards that, some of you don't give a fuck or you're oblivious. So don't worry about that. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah. Other than that, you're maintaining this transformation around you and within you that you've done. And yeah, just stay steady, move forward, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye. No, but other than that, yeah, cool. Wait, what? Oh, nice. That's right. All right now. Eh. So, oh yeah, that's what happened. So, I'm going to break down the Mercury transit. There's certain themes that I want to share and archetypes. Um, if we go back, of course, Mercury began its transit about a week ago, about like a week and a half ago. So let's go back to March 9th, March 10th. Okay. March 10th, 10 days ago, Mercury with the moon entered Aries. This was right after we had the new moon in Pisces. So the new moon in Pisces, okay, um, the new moon in Pisces activated with the Aries signature, this new perspective, and our brains got along towards processing how it is we communicate who we are. Okay. Mercury in Aries is going to pertain more to self thinking. I'm this. This is what I think about this versus speaking in a way that brings others into mind. We should look at this like that. We should look at this like that. This is supporting more individualized focus. All right. So that you are building your character by recycling, reinitializing who you are as you respond and process this information. Hence, now the cardinal nature of this is you putting, of course, the direction towards how you drive forward this new activated belief and perspective that we're going to now identify with through Aries. The first decan of Aries is Mars, driving forward the passionate activation of this information we're processing and relating to who we are. Okay. Very dynamic, very powerful. There's a vulgarity and there's a rawness and an unfilteredness. That's why I don't mind. That's why I kind of like Mercury and Aries people. It's such an instinctual communication manner that before you can think about filtering what you say, they already said the fucking shit. Why did you say that? What the fuck did I say? Oh, my bad. Okay, and that's raw and that's very authentic. Not every Mercury and Aries is like this, but we want to just speak on it archetypally for the nature of how this may express itself. Even in the person who doesn't curse or is vulgar, there's still going to be a very expressive, forward passion towards what they communicate, whether they say it's slow, sad, happy, passionate. All right. And with Mercury going into the second decan of the sun, the charge of your brain focusing in this manner is now in getting ready to retrograde, charging up. The second decan of the sun allows for a glow, okay, which now adds strengthened passion to the direction you are communicating. The mercurial presence through the nodes is wrapping your brain around what you're about to do. Okay. And now this is where I want to talk about the phase of Mercury. So, in about 20 days from now, in about 15 days from now, we're going to have the eclipse. In about 3 days from now, we're going to have the full moon eclipse. But the sun exactly on the north node is beginning a brand new sun north node cycle that we haven't had since 20 years ago. The last North Node cycle we had was in Taurus, I believe. So this is going to be the first North Node Aries we've had in a while. This is what's this is fire. This is what's activating a whole new, like, this is crazy. So that's when we're going to be aware of, okay, it's time for us to step into this mission. We're activating it. Mercury going there before is now gaining information and research. So our brains right now are wrapped around, oh, okay, so that's what this mission is. You getting debriefed on the mission, right? It's you realizing, okay, we need to do this, or I identify with this, I want to do this, this is who I am in the mission. And then once the sun, our awareness comes there, everything that we were intellectually processing on what we are thinking it is, now our awareness is going to be there, we're activating it. And that's where, Mercury in its retrograde, the planet doesn't actually move backwards, blah, 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 jargon. The thing about this is the purpose of Mercury retrograding, if you want to look at it in an esoteric sense, is that if our brains are processing information and Mercury doesn't retrograde and it keeps on moving forward at the pace that it moves, given that it's the fastest planet, we're going to be processing information far beyond what we're aware of. So you want to look at Mercury like a bird. Sometimes you send a scouter bird, and the scouter bird flies ahead of you and it collects information while you're still aware of what you're aware of. And then when that bird comes back, boom, you're gaining information. You're like, oh, this is what's ahead of me. Now, because you have information on what's ahead of you, it prepares for what you're going to be aware of, versus just being aware of it and being like, whoa, you're like, okay, I gained information. It might still be surprising, but I gained information that this might come up. All right. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you. All right. So what happens then is that Mercury goes behind the sun, it retrogrades back. It now starts to give that insight. Okay, cool. This is what I'm aware of. Mercury now starts to gain insight behind your awareness. Any planets behind then, it's giving it that information. And this is now re-evaluating everything that you had processed before as you are changing your thinking and adjusting around that. Then Mercury goes direct. It starts to process this through the shadow of this reevaluation. It meets with the sun again. Hey, this is what I reevaluated. Conscious awareness is like, all right, cool. Epiphany. So some Mercury are always epiphany moments where it's like our brain and our conscious awareness are aligned. We're activating that new cycle. Boom. And then, of course, we send that scout ahead again. That's the phase of Mercury. This is why now Venus will never be more than 60 degrees away from the sun, and Mercury will never be more than 30 degrees away from the sun. So you can never have a Mercury sign that's 2 signs away from a sun sign. The Mercury is either going to be the sign of, the sign after, the sign before. All right. Beautiful. That being said, at this stage, Mercury is getting ready to retrograde. Okay. The information ahead of what we process now that Aries is being inhabited by the king, the sun, Mercury in the 3rd decan, as we start to expand our mind around how it is we want to take to the next level this passion of who we are. Well, at the beginning of April, we will have Mercury retrograding near the square to Pluto. April 2nd. Its proximity to the Pluto square will give you a sneak peek of how intense these realizations are and how it will require a hardcore shift in the knowledge of your value. And the start of the real new year is going to hit with a bang. Okay. The Boston Marathon bombings happened around this period too. I think in a way to reflect the explosive power of Aries. Okay. Not that bombings don't happen in any other time, but still. Once Mercury begins its retrograde, one thing we have to notice: Capricorn completes the 270-degree signature of the Aries transit. Okay. So that means we've kicked in Aries and we're drawing out the harvest of the new moon Pisces cycle. And as we harvest this, once we complete that harvest and we're getting ready to activate the new Aries cycle, Mercury is going to start reevaluating. So let's use an analogy, right? I come into the belief that I can run track. You know, I think I can run. I believe I can run. And now Mercury coming into Aries from March 10th to March 20th is you looking online, you're looking at track and field videos, you're going to, you know what I'm saying? You're reading articles about track, you're watching track meets, you know what I'm saying? You're going to the track and field, you're watching people perform in track meets, you're talking to people about track, and you're thinking, you know, I think I can do this. This might be something I can do. You know what I mean? And then the sun actually goes into Aries. And now you are focused on, you know what? I'm going to actually run track and field. I am a track athlete, right? This is, of course, going to probably lead to a tryouts. Tryouts is going to be now Gemini season. After Taurus season of the Earth material, yeah, you want to be a track field athlete, but do you have the cleats? Do you have the gear? Do you have the material? That's Taurus season. We need to invest value. And then now, once we practice our skills in Gemini season, we can try out, okay, to make the team. But this is still about, you know, embodying yourself as a track and field star. All right. And now you're still coming into information. Boom. We have the full moon in Libra. We're now converting our belief that we can be a track star into now going socially to a track and field and now starting to actually run and see, you know, how can I balance my character while I'm building this? Boom, we complete the harvest of this belief. We've converted our belief that we can be a track star into now actually running on the track. But that doesn't mean we're a track star yet. We've still just taken action cardinally through Aries attached to who I am so that I can run the path of a track athlete. All right. Now we're going to come into the new moon. Mercury retrograding is me now reevaluating all of the information I picked up so far about track as my consciousness is meeting with this information. We're like, okay, this is what I heard about this. And now that I've been running track a little bit, I've noticed, okay, that's actually kind of true. Oh, I still need to know about this. Oh, this information may not have been as accurate. Boom. Now Mercury and the sun have met together in Aries, and the information you have compiled is meeting your current conscious awareness. And we're on the North Node, and it's the new moon. Now we're at a track meet, or now we're at, you know what I'm saying, where we're at the tryouts. You can see Aries as a tryouts as well, or because, actually, it depends. If you buy the gear after you try out, you can see it as you try out then, but basically you're running a race. It could be a exhibition race. And this is where now you are coming more into the identity of this. You're stepping more into the decisiveness to become this. It doesn't mean that you are that yet. You haven't run any awards yet. You haven't ran track meets, but this is the beginning activation stage, right? Cool. Now Mercury is going to go back. Now our sun is moving forward in awareness. We're stepping forward in this track. Now our brains are reevaluating everything before, the awareness you had before, as far as, okay, can I do this track stuff? Or, okay, this is how I wonder what it's like. Now your brain is reevaluating those thoughts as, okay, now I've gained more insight about this. Okay. Oh, okay. This is what I thought before. As it goes back into the Pisces section, if it retrogrades in Pisces, you're reevaluating those previous beliefs. All right, I believe that I can be a sprinter, or I believe that I can be a long distance person. Now we're reevaluating all of this. It goes direct again, brings in that information, and then completes the cycle. So that is a analogy, hopefully a good analogy, to give you an idea of this process of how your brain will be working with your awareness in tandem to facilitate this. So once we come into this completion, of course, now the moon completing the cycle for the Aries signature is transcending certain facets, and of course that's where we have the new moon. Now, we're not going to have Mercury retrograde back into Pisces. So this is going to, by the time Mercury retrograde, Venus and Mars are going to be ready to catch up to it. And then Mercury is going to keep moving forward anyway. So this is going to, it'll probably retrograde again in Leo. And then we'll start to reevaluate how on stage, we're performing at a track meet. All right. And outside of that, of course, the new moon happening next to the node with Mercury retrograde is you running that first race. It's you deciding, do I want to be a sprinter? Do I want to be long distance? You're kind of set on that. And this is where also Mars, of course, activates the karmic cycle. Okay. Once we kick in the conjunction here, that's going to happen at the assassination 22 degree. The moon's going to be in Gemini, allowing us intellectual understanding with the Mercury rulership. And this is going to be a major epiphany. April 10th, April 11th, universal time. Okay. And relative to this, all right, as we're activating, so the new moon in Pisces, we activated a perspective, trust the magic of the new beginnings. New moon in Aries, we're activating power. This is where it's like, okay, I went from believing I could run track to I'm locked in. Like this is it. I'm going to commit to running track. Like this is what I want to do. And now we're activating this step in a new direction. And as we do this, our mind meets with our consciousness, and the information that activates here is going to set us up to, of course, with this clarity, step forward in awareness quite passionately during the last 10 degrees subruled by Jupiter. That's going to lead, of course, to the rest of Aries season And as Aries, as the sun finishes off in Aries and goes into Taurus, Mercury is going to revisit with Venus the North Node. And this is going to now wrap our brains and hearts around how much more powerfully we're moving forward on this mission. Okay. So right now, you're gaining insight on the mission. You just got debriefed. You're like, this is the mission you're about to do. Then in 2 weeks, you're going to activate this mission. Then in a week from 2 weeks, once we step into this position, now you've activated the mission. Now your brain is reevaluating, okay, this is what I was told I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm doing so far. This is how we're coming into the quality. And the activation of Venus is passing along that message to your heart so that now everything you're polishing is aligned with your thinking around this. Cool. Mercury goes back on the nodes. And what do you know? During this North Node space, Mercury goes direct. Okay. This is post full moon in Taurus. And so we'll be harvesting the value of our actions and character. There's going to be more of an intensity that you may feel of pure hatred or love as the sun squares Pluto. And this is the sense of defeat. A large reason why a lot of you are receiving psychic attack is because the insecure beings who are projecting their insecurity on you don't deal with defeat well. Most of these people have God complexes or ego issues where they have to feel better than other people. So perceptually, them feeling any kind of defeat, even though to you it may not be a victory or defeat because you're not like seeing it like that, you're having to realize these people really feel they're having a hard time processing that defeat in that sense. And so it's a lot of resentment. It's a lot of lingering animosity. It's a lot. And I love what Libra Lord Astrology said. I'm a nobody, PD. And it's crazy how these same people who may say you're a nobody behind closed doors in their soul can't go a day without thinking about you. Whoever may have issues with you, and it doesn't have to be an individual. This could just be like on a frequency level, like metaphorically, the whole concept that certain beliefs will clash with yours. So you could feel that, the actions aren't matching the words. And this is important because it really brings this friction that puts you in a position to prepare to stand your ground. And if you're petty like me, you can rub it in. This is the chance to rub it in. All right. This is your chance to rub it the fuck in. Remember, you just completed your I Told You So tour. We're 6 months out of it. Rub it in. Rub it in their face. God bless some of you. You're not petty. You're not petty like that. You know what I mean? Like you're a lot more kind and classy, and you're above these things. For those of you who are above these things, maintain that. You have self-respect. For those of you who don't and you're petty like me, rub that shit the fuck in. This is going to be your only chance to rub it in. Be like, why are you mad? Are you mad? Is it because I told you so? Why are you mad? You've been hella mad as of late. Is it because I was right and you're wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? I have like the Gemini annoying quality, so I can be like stupid petty. Like I can be like a 7-year-old. What's wrong? What's wrong? Why are you mad? So like, I wouldn't want you to waste an opportunity like that by not doing it, but it's up to you. I don't want to tell you what to do. All right. And you're going to really experience this as soon as we shift into Taurus at a much more intensified quality, in the sense of someone who is sad that what they wanted to see. You know, when someone is mad because it's like they had to accept that it's over, they couldn't make fetch happen. As much as they try to make fetch happen, they couldn't make fetch happen. And now it's settling on them. It's like they have to accept that, wow, they really couldn't make it happen. They really couldn't manipulate you. They really couldn't control you. They tried peer pressure. They tried to put other people against you. They tried to demean you. That didn't work. They tried to irritate you. They ended up irritated. And now it's setting in. It's setting in that they're weak little bitches, and they'll never really be anything else. And that's enough to make anybody angry, you know? And I feel like respectfully, you should, out of love for them, rub it in their faces as much as you can. And thankfully, as Mercury goes direct, this is going to be the active principle of now moving forward with these assertive thought processes. All right. As we clear this disillusionment with Mars getting ready to join the Super Smash Bros. Fray, the very important thing about Mercury retrograding and going direct on the nodes is, as of now, you are understanding your mission like an agent getting debriefed. Pause. Once we come out of this retrograde period, you've wrapped your mind more around the mission. You're much more clear on what you have to do because you've already activated it through the new moon and the eclipse. And as we're grounding and manifesting this, okay, now as I'm getting the cleats, because now at this point, I know I want to be a sprinter and a jumper. I'm doing triple jump and I'm doing the 200-meter race. So now I'm getting my shin splints. That's good. Now I'm getting my cleats. Now I'm getting my water bottle. In Taurus season, I'm making sure I'm getting good quality materials. I'm practicing greater strength. And my mind is still wrapped around, this is what I have to do. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. And now post full moon, as we are harvesting the quality of this character, ooh, this activation phase is stupid fire, guys. Mars goes into Aries. We want to now look at the new moon in Taurus period. As the new moon in Taurus period brings Mercury coming out of Chiron, healing vulnerabilities. You may say a lot of F words and FUs. Please feel free. Mercury on Chiron is like when someone just needs to vent and it's just like, I fucking hate them. I don't want that fucking bitch. And your friend is just there like, no, just let him out. Just let it out. Just let it out. It doesn't have to be. It's a stereotype to look at Aries as like some person who can't control their anger and whatnot. But I like stereotypes. So, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucker. But like, other than that, it's very beautiful because I don't like stereotypes, actually. I like them until I don't like them, until they don't favor me or whatnot. But yeah, it's really going to now conclude the direction. The whole purpose of this Aries season is we're coming around the block and we just want to direct, we're moving this way or we're moving this way. After the new moon, you've committed, of course, to what direction you're moving to, and that's what's going to align your mind and your actions. Mars in Aries, of course, will now be acting very assertively and directly off of everything you've done. Post new moon Taurus, which will now, of course, allow for Mercury, the fastest planet in the bunch, to begin its catch up. And at 29 degrees Aries, the sun is in between Uranus and Jupiter, activating the Jack and the Beanstalk activation. So chapter 2 of this Jupiter cycle is Jack and the Beanstalk. I've used this analogy a lot. This is where it actually applies. So the seeds that we're sowing on Jupiter and Uranus this year compared to any other sun Jupiter. And let me talk about that. Every year we have a sun Jupiter. Sagittarius. Okay, so Isaiah, this is actually a really good question. So Aries vulgarness is we're in a store, right? Spot the difference between Aries and Sagittarius. We're in a store and Aries is like, yeah, I told that bitch shut the fuck up. Yeah, that bitch was ugly too. She was an ugly ass bitch. Mind you, there's kids around, and there's like all sorts of, and people are looking like, what the fuck? Oh my god, that bitch was so fucking. I don't even know. Why would you even date this chick? Like, and that dude was an idiot too. All right, and then we have Sagittarius vulgarness. Yeah, so like there were like four people at that orgy, and then one person stuck their dick out, and then they were pissing on everyone else there. It was insane. And then the other person started vomiting everywhere. And then somebody literally like had diarrhea. It was disgusting. There was a putrid odor, and they kept on having sex. See, you see with Sagittarius, it's more visual. The Sagittarius vulgarity is going to give you more of a visual experience, whereas Aries vulgarity is more direct. It's more in your face. You know what I'm saying? Sag is always TMI, like, why would you say that? Or you really did you say that on purpose? Aries is just more of a like grunt, like ooga booga. All right, so and there you go, and there you go. All right. All right. That a fascinating question. Very important question. Um, I used to think Sag was oblivious. They're not. I used to look at Sag doing that like you have to be oblivious. There's no way you're saying this out. Then I found out they're not oblivious. They're very aware. They're some of the most self-aware individuals. They're some of the most self-aware collectives ever. But it is what Aries is gonna keep it simple, you know. And that being said, um, Jupiter, Sun, and Aries was the last seed sowing evolution. Jupiter, Sun, Pisces. We had Jupiter, Sun, Pisces, and Neptune. That was a very magical one. This is Jupiter, Sun, Uranus in Taurus. The last Jupiter, Sun, Uranus we had was in Pisces. So it does represent unconventional evolution, but it was not on a ground where a plant can grow. It was based on our beliefs that led us here to where we're going. So this Jupiter, Sun, Uranus, Taurus, Venus of dignity here is the magic beanstalk, where you're going to chapter 2 starts with you planting these seeds that immediately already start to grow. And really at peak innovation will bring out the most valuable part of yourself. You're going to enjoy chapter 2. Chapter 1 was all about who you are. Chapter 2 is fleshing home what you're worth. And that's where this Pluto Aquarius square is going to come in, because now the darker side of this Pluto Aqua coming out of elitist Capricorn is transforming forever social nuances of class systems. You have people still today who, whether they'll want to admit it or not, divvy up people based on how poor they are, how rich they are, what race they are, what status they are. And as you are expanding the uniqueness of your individuality outside of these stupid, idiotic boxes that do not necessarily attribute who you are because you're not a label, this is going to piss off people who feel more comfortable with you in that box. That's indicated by this Cancer signature. All this Taurus energy is square, the fourth house to the aqua, and it is now expanding out of an old comfort zone by 300 years worth. So you have to look at, since I'm not even going to say 300, since the 1700s, right? All of what the older generations have pieced through since the last corruption of humanity, that the awakening slash corruption that led to a lot of these themes we go through. You have a lot of women who are breaking through in greater independence. You have a lot of men who are reestablishing a different sense of masculinity in whatever sense, who are maintaining the traditional as well, but with a new twist. You have people who are uplifting themselves out of old poverty. You have people who are coming into their own unique brand, and that's hard to put in a box. That's going to be the major shift now of how we intensify these conflicts. This is what last time Pluto was in Aquarius led to revolution, where you have monarchs who are taking advantage of serfs and peasants and not spreading the influence in a way that doesn't make them poor. And well, what did they do? They ate the rich. This is seen now happening in celebrity culture with people watching these artists and performers and celebrities that they pay a lot of money to kind of shit on them, flex on them. The only thing, there's nothing new under the sun. It's not like this hasn't happened throughout all time, but we would like to think cyclically there is going to be a period where now these sentiments reach a climax. This could be one such of those periods. All right. And of course, with Mercury at peak 29 degrees and Neptune at peak 29 degrees, which has not happened in over 100 years. All right. This is going to really give you a powerful insight, sense, and understanding of what direction you are taking this quality and nature of your individuality. Okay. Now that we've got the math out the way, the North Node unlocking is unlocking your true potential through Gemini season and Taurus. All right. And it's this self-realization that will feel like it's in a movie. If you're a side character like me, this realization will be done off screen. If you're a main character like Sierra, this is going to be done on screen. All right. So there's going to be a whole dramatic event around this. You all know, every Leo knows their life feels like a movie. Every Libra knows their life is like a music video, movie, a musical. So like, it's definitely very powerful because there's more conviction behind the unique actions you take. Mercury in Aries is going to communicate the language of your power and abilities. There are certain unique mannerisms and eccentricities that your supernatural abilities are tied to. And in a cycle like this, certain things you've done your whole life, you're going to realize coincide with moments in your life that put the dots together like, oh, that's what that is. And you can name it as well. All right. So if anything, I really feel like you're most definitely coming into a unveiling of the layers of yourself you can now activate with your awareness. And how do you know which character you are? That is what Aries season activates, right? Because you can say you're this, you can believe you're that, but you're going to respond to your environment with actions. So by the end of Aries season through the new moon, you are activating that character you are with your actions. By Gemini season, we are now intellectually processing this is what it is. I'm communicating it, it's my attitude. But before you do that, you are carving that out through your actions. And so to be mindful, make sure while we are sowing these seeds, everything you are doing is aligned to your most authentic self. I don't care if that pisses off everyone else around you or everyone loves you for it. Please honor yourself by doing this. These actions will now expose what situations you're in and how much they align towards you being more of yourself. All right. We depend on you to be yourself. That way you play your role and I can play my role. Even if we believe in opposite things, I still need you to play your role. Even if that's an antagonist in my life or a protagonist. Okay. So that being said, the supernatural nature of the God power you've awakened through the Capricorn arc is now individually setting in. The whole Capricorn, especially Focus 2020 up until now, was working on the hardware. All right. You have a brand. This everything since 2020 has been you beta testing a new type of vehicle. And Saturn going through Capricorn and Aquarius was the collective authority needed to regulate this new type of vehicle. There's all sorts of standardization and testing. You can't just put a new vehicle out on the road. We need to test it. We need to make sure there's regulations around millions of people who may buy this type of vehicle so that we have order in place. Okay. So now the Aries component of this is, well, now you're driving the car, you're playing with this app, but you're initializing how you drive the car, what you use the app through the first 6 zodiac signs. This is our individuality integrating socially. Okay. And relative to that, it puts you um in a position to powerfully activate a whole unique, and I would say emboldened sense of kicking off the rest of this 12 chapter book. Okay. So that being said, um for those of you who of course would like a breakdown, the first 15 of you to order this will get a 15-minute report. The first 10 of you to use the code Mercury, of course, will get it half off. And if you haven't joined my newsletter or my mailing list, go to my website, put in your email. I will be sending more newsletters. I will kind of put up a newsletter this year. Um, I'll let you know when I start that. But yeah, other than that, I think that many of you are going to come into a very powerful um identification with powers and attributes of your actions that may have been more rooted in fantasy and more rooted in belief that you'll now see in action. And you're not believing you can run that 100 meter. Now you've run that 100 meter. And it's going to really kind of fuel more of that passion towards that. Woo! Cool beans. I didn't want to necessarily make this too long. And will Aries and Libra compatibility be affected? I mean, in the way that everyone will be affected, I think the focus on Aries will just personally add more intensity towards how balanced relationships are. So to bring up the Aries Libra dynamic with you and other people. But as far as Aries and Libra natives, Aries is on fire. So if y'all are beefing, Aries is gonna have the advantage. That's kind of how I see it. Um, I don't feel like it should really be affected though, any differently than normal transits. But yeah, Mercury touching Chiron 3 times is very, very important. Very, very, very important. It definitely speaks towards activating mentally and consciously the key towards your greater enlightenment, but more so I like to see it as a turn button to activate power. And Mercury is revisiting vulnerabilities and wounds relative to how unconfident or inauthentic you may hold yourself back because personally you give in to other people's opinions, or you may not be proud of certain things you've done. So this will activate new cycles of healing, but of course, different facets. I'm running track and then I trip during a race. And Mercury with Chiron is having me filter insecurities like I'm not really that good of a racer, versus coming back 2 times and learning from that friction. And now not letting those wounds deter me, but turning them into a strength and power as well, especially with the North Node, where we do see at a certain level in nature the quality of now what you're destined to do. So Chiron will be like, I'm not going to let my insecurities of not being fast enough. I see somebody dust me, and it's like, well, I haven't had that much experience yet, versus, oh, I'm not meant to do this. And now the nodes here is going to align. I'm meant to do this, right? You finish that race, and one of the top racers comes through, and you finish second to last, and they're like, hey, I saw you out there, and yeah, maybe you didn't win the race, but I really liked your heart, man. I really liked what you did. Keep at it. And now you have this sense of purpose, like you're dead, like synchronicities align. So we're putting that theme of vulnerability and purpose. The North Node, the sun, like whenever my North Node is transited, whenever the sun or moon transits my North Node, predictably, I'm always watching a performance, or I'm performing on a stage, or I'm doing something related to my destiny. And that's what helps reinforce what I'm meant to do. Um it's very uncanny, and it really speaks to the sequence. So all this Aries season, you're going to be more clearer than ever of what you're meant to do, especially because, of course, you're identifying with it. And this is going to be your individual mission. If you've ever seen any spy narratives, this is your individual mission. There's only you can do this mission, should you choose to accept. All right. So with that being said, um, you guys stay blessed as always. My North Node is Aquarius. So the way that works for me, um, whatever zodiac signs are on your planets, they're your plug. So an Aquarius woman, for example, called me the past few weeks, and she directed me to my destiny. There were certain things that I've wanted to do that I felt I was meant to do. In one phone call, she was talking to me about it. She's like, "Oh, my husband actually works on this, and you can work on him with it now." What sign is her husband? An Aries, where the North Node is on. So like working during this period, working with her husband is not only helping me, of course, activate destiny, but it's aligned with my destiny. Okay. And this is where Aquariuses have been the plug for me. Like the reason why I rap, the reason why I even rap, right, is because the reason why I rap is because when I was 16 in Lenexa, Kansas, when I was staying with my uncle in high school, a 14-year-old Aquarius woman asked me if she wanted to make music with her. She did guitar, she produced music, super talented. She is the reason why I rap. Like we made a couple rap songs together, and boom, that sparked my passion. You know what I mean? And of course, I rap because of me, but it's interesting how the Aquarius signature guided me towards that, right? And it's I've seen this in many ways. The person who taught me how to read tarot and helped initiate me into the Palo Mayombe, also an Aquarius. Mind you, he told me that astrology is bullshit. So now I'm seeing how he's challenged my beliefs, and that still helped reinforce me coming into and learning what I need to learn towards my destiny, right? I worked for Astrolata. She's an Aqua rising. And this is how, in the Leo and of course the Aqua way, whoever is on your nodes, whoever's on your planets, they're your plug. All right. The sixth house of work. Um, my Libra neighbor who used to live with me, being around him, he introduced me to literally two jobs that I could have worked at. It was in this general area. So yeah. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I never did the listening parties, so I'm gonna have to come through with that this year. All right. Most definitely gonna be working on a lot of projects. So we'll get that popping. So you guys stay blessed as always. I'm gonna head out. Um, I hope you enjoy this new year. I like the spirit of Aries. People are popping at each other already. It's very combative. And just maintain authenticity. Sometimes through conflict and through battles, we can create peace. That's one thing I like about the masculine edge. Of the cool thing about Aries is Aries can beat the shit out of you. Like Aries can have a fight with you, like bah, 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 bah. And then 5 minutes later, it's like, hey, you want to have go have a drink? And then you ever see two people fight, and then after they fight, it's just like, hey, you wanna, they caught the fade with each other. Cancer and Taurus keep grudges. Taurus, DJ Academics is going beef with the people even me. Taurus and Cancer from 5 years ago. Yeah, that motherfucker did that. Did like 50 Cent is still throwing shots at Ja Rule. You feel me? Like they keep grudges. Air signs, fire signs, we're gonna get really dramatic, but then once it's over, it's over. Once it's a dub, it's a dub. Okay. That's it. That's it. So it's the nature between feminine energy versus masculine energy. All right. The masculine energy is going to be more direct, potently, but then it cools off easier with fire. The feminine energy is going to be more passive aggressive and direct, and it's just going to linger. It's going to linger. It's going to, it's like, let it go. Let it go. Of course, each side has their pros and cons, or each part. But yeah, you guys stay blessed as always. And until next time.